But yeah, that Supercross the weekend before at the race, remember I was coming through and I jumped the triple and Partridge didn't. He double single. In that picture of me landing on his head, it's a picture in the mag where I landed on his head.
Yeah.
And at LA the week before?
The week before.
The first week.
Yeah.
Back to back.
Did you crash? I don't remember that.
You broke your back, didn't you?
Yeah.
You fucked your back.
Boom. Went to my butt. Like basically went off the side of the bike. Butt checked the triple. And I just remember that was that I couldn't race. I was like, and usually for me not to race, it like had to be bad. And I just remember I was like, I couldn't breathe. And I remember laying in the truck that right after that and was like, medics were checking me. And then I went, I had to go home. I couldn't race. It was hurt too bad. I couldn't catch my breath. So I went back and then they're like, yeah, compressed vertebrae, this, that. But I went to, remember like later in that week, the next round was coming on. Like, dude, I want to race. Like like we practiced. Like
you didn't ride all week.
Yeah, we didn't ride all week. But when Mark Smith was my trainer, well, he's my buddy. We slept on my floor and we just trained every day. And we trained so hard. I do like 320 lap mains a day on the Supercross track.
Is that right?
Like, dude, we were diehard. Like I was like, we would run every morning 5 miles, do sprints at the park. Like I was diehard about training just because I knew that was the only way I could make up this gap. And so, so we trained super hard, and then I'm like, dude, I can't even race. So I'm like, you know what? I'm racing. I went to the local track in Menifee, like out in the hills, and rode the like Thursday or whatever before the second round. And I'm like, I think I'm okay. Let's go. And so I went to the race. And I just remember practice, like every time I landed, it'd be like, like it hurt my back. And but I was like, we're racing, we went through the qualifier, and it rained that weekend.
Yeah, it was muddy.
It was muddy. Yeah. So the track was kind of like flattened out and ruddy, which suited me, which I was like, okay, I like this. It wasn't super technical. And I remember on the starting gate, I'm like, the bike was lunging like at the gate. I almost got stuck in the gate because the clutch was so bad in those things. And I take off, and I think, you were in that, right? And
well, you got to slow because you were the one that freaked out. Okay, so we were riding East Coast, me and Carmichael that year.
Yeah.
But this is when that rule was going on where you could ride the opposite coast for no points or something, as long as you weren't in the top 10 in points. That's what it went to this year. So Ricky really wanted to race because he had never raced. So we did the heat races, and Ricky and I did well. Decker and Johnson didn't.
Yeah.
Didn't you kick someone's gate or something?
So we swapped gates. You remember that? We lined up, and we picked good gates. We did our parade lap, and when we came back, I dropped into Casey's gate, and Ricky dropped into Decker's gate.
Yeah.
Because they had better gates than you.
And so I was there with Lamont, or whoever was working for Decker.
And
it was next to you guys.
Really?
And you were like, you lost your shit.
Really?
Yeah. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I totally remember that because you guys out-qualified them, and then they were going in the gates that you qualified. And I'm like, no way. No way.
So it turned into a whole deal.
Yeah.
Like they backed us out. Everybody's goggles are fogging. I mean, they held the gate for a while.
Did they make you go back to your spot?
Yeah.
And then you end up getting taken out on the start.
I was so pissed. Because I was embarrassed. You know what I mean?
Ricky.
It wasn't our idea. It wasn't Mitch's idea. It was a Cowie guy. He goes, hey, why don't we do this? And Mitch is like, I don't know. He's like, let's just try it. What are we going to do?
Was it legal or no?
No. Fuck no.
All right.
So anyway, we switch back. I'm like, screw it. I'm getting the whole shot, and I'm going to, lead some laps before, and then I'll pull out. And, I went into the turn hot, and I can't remember who I clipped. There's a picture of it, and all you see is my boot behind Wyndham's head.
Yeah.
And I knocked Casey off the track. Like, it was a debacle.
Your whole team was on the ground, wasn't it?
No, I was the only guy that crashed, but it knocked Casey off the track.
Didn't RC go off too?
What happened to Carmichael?
He just cruised around.
Really?
No, he didn't go off the track because he stayed back. He didn't even do the start.
You smoked him. That's what happened.
Yeah, okay. I just remember the race. I remember seeing the gate, and there was a lot of names in that race. I'm like, because it seemed weird to me that it almost like an east-west round.
Yeah. I don't know that anyone else did it, but Ricky and I, we were supposed to just let everybody go and then just ride.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to get on a real track with our race bikes, and that was Ricky's thing.
So anyway. That was a fun night.
Then carry on. Yeah, tell us about the rest of that race.
So the spike's lunging, and I take off. I was down on the inside gates, which was good. So I came around that first left-hander, and you guys all went hot into the turn and all started crashing. And I just hugged the inside and just cruised around and came out like in third or fourth. And I was like one of the best starts I've had.
Ever.
Yeah, and I'm like running it. And who is it? Renard was leading, And then I think Voloman was in there.
There it is. That's the first turn. I don't know if you're already through or where you are. But
way on the inside. Ramsey's like right next to me, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You see 57, and my boot is just behind Wyndham's head.
Crashing. So I come around the side, and it kind of pans out like that. So I'm like, I just remember running in second with Renard. I think I got around Volleman or something, and he was right with me or whatever. And I just remember, and my suspension was so soft. I had like outdoor suspension on my bike, and the track was so mellow, though it didn't matter. So I just remember my bike worked really good going up the peristyle on the slick and everything. And so I was following Renard, and I just remember I was so amped to be in second. I was like, no way, this is sick. Like, I'm in second place, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm going to get on the podium. And I was like, this is what I was thinking when I was racing. And Renard is ahead of me, and I usually didn't beat Renard. Like, he was good. And all of a sudden I see him start fading back. And I was like, dude, I was just getting warmed up because we had trained gnarly. Like, we were, like, to the point I never faded because that was my thing. And so I see him coming. I'm like, no freaking way, dude. I'm going to pass this guy. And I'm like, I started getting nervous, super nervous, you know. And I just remember coming down the peristyle and closing up on him. And then we went through, like, a right-left and then hit the triple. And he was, like, going all slow at the triple. And I just jumped past him. I just remember the crowd going crazy, you know, and I could hear it all. And I fly by him, and I'm, like, going the next turn. I thought he was going to stuff me, but he didn't. And I just started, you know, pulling away, and I'm like, no fucking way. And I'm, like, nervous racing because I didn't normally lead Supercrosses. And I just remember, like, don't mess up. And I remember casing this jumping, almost going off the track there, and they kind of closed up on me. And it was Volleman behind me, like, right on me. And Volleman was good when he came over from Europe.
Yeah.
He was on the FMF Yamaha.
Especially a track like that.
Yeah. And he was, like, boom, right there. And I just, like, hold it together. And I was able to hold off, and I hear Wyndham's coming, you know, and he'd already crashed once. And so he's coming, dude, and he was fast as shit. Yeah. And so I just hear the crowd cheering. I'm like, oh, man, it's down to the last lap. I'm like, just finish the lap. And I was going around the finish, 2 turns from the finish, and I just hear the crowd go crazy. And I see him, Wyndham's crashed again. I mean, if he didn't crash, I don't know if he would have got me, but it was close. Like, it was coming. He was coming.
Real close.
Yeah, it was coming. And so anyway, he crashes, and I only have a little bit to go. I just remember the rollers before the finish. They were super ruddy, and I was like, don't crash in these things.
Yeah. Was your bike getting slow? You knew, like, man, something's wrong, or were you really thinking about it?
No, I didn't feel like, no, I didn't. Okay. Like, as far as I remember, I don't remember my bike, like, going, this thing's let me down, you know? I just was so nervous about leading. And I just remember going to the finish, and this is 97, before the backflip, before really any tricks. I think it was only the knack by then. And I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I have to do something. I think if I knew how to flip then, I probably would have tried that because I'm like, I had to do something. It's a rare moment.
So I wondered if you had this plan before the season. Did you go, if I win, I'm going to go try?
No, I didn't think we were going to win. Like, I didn't think I thought we were going to win, you know?
So this is just like a spur of the moment.
Spur of the moment, going through the whoops before the finish. I'm like, what am I going to do? And I'm like, I think, because back then we were doing like nothings and like just stupid tricks. And I come to the finish line, it was just double, and I just like freaking ghost rode my bike and launched it. And it was a big launch because I was in the air like flying, you know? It wasn't like I was in the air jumping the double like off the back of the bike.
And remember, he has a compressed vertebrae in his back.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I've jumped off the back of my bike just on flat, and you can't run as fast as you think you can.
No,
so I think it got to hurt, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember I was way up in the air. I didn't care. I was so amped and goes around the bike. It was like a perfect launch, and I go flying and land in between the double, and I bounce up because I was just so amped, and everyone's like second, third are all racing over my head. You know, I didn't even care. They're like battling still, and the bike luckily lands and rolls perfectly off the track and almost runs you over because you're on the finish line.
Dude, I was going to try to catch it. And then I'm like, if I catch it, these bikes in front of me are going to hit me. So I'm like dodging bikes like on the track. I'm standing on the track.
Yeah, you ran out.
On the track.
I don't know what the fuck I was doing. I was so amped too.
There's a photo of kind of, you coming at the cameraman, and you're out in the track. I'm like, where did he come from? Was the mechanics area?
Yeah, it was across.
Right there.
Yeah.
It was right there, right? From the starting line.
You were so hyped. Like, how pumped were you?
Oh, I was amped. I was more amped for him because just everything that's built up to this point,
you've been along that journey with him.
Yeah, and just, from his childhood and just everything he wanted it. And he used to tell me, all I want to do is win one Supercross race. If I can win one, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
And that I could say I did it. And I knew, dude, And from that point on, things were different because he told me, he goes, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to go out and race and do my hardest, but dude, I won.
Thanks for watching the Whiskey Throttle Show. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click the bell to get alerts for all the latest content. Follow us on Twitter at W_Throttle_Show and on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram at Whiskey Throttle Show.
We won't stop until